All right, here we go. Here we go, miss.
It's happening.
It's happening. It's happening, or is it happening?
We'll find out when we're finished.
Welcome to the first episode of the Nut Job podcast, where we really care about making you laugh. We really care about making you happy, and in the entertainment factor with a little bit of goodness with mental health and support and love. And I'm gonna let my sweet little miss take it away and kind of give you what she's all about. Take it away.
But I'm all about the comedy. Um, Having a platform to reach more people with my comedy. Just kidding.
It's necessary.
No, I just wanted to do this because it sounded fun and I think we're funny. If I think we're funny, maybe other people will think that we're funny.
Agreed.
And I know I like to listen to pods to just kind of zone out and relax my brain for a little while. And we can do that, make people feel good, then sign me up.
Yeah, I get it. So I know how much I adore you, and I know that we laugh a lot about that we found each other later on in life, because if we didn't, we would probably be dead or in jail together,
So true.
which I don't want to be dead or in jail. So I am grateful that we met when we did. Um, and so let's get into it a little bit. As far as I'm concerned, I love to love. It's my favorite thing in the whole wide world. I'm a recovering people pleaser. I'm a recovering alcoholic. I work really hard on my personal development and being the best person I possibly can be. And it's so crazy that no matter how long and how much time I have in sobriety, there's always still something to work on. I feel like more boundaries to set, more belief systems to break through. And I really like to be funny as well. So adding a little bit of humor to that seriousness is something that I think is beneficial, because it makes it light and it makes it attainable, and you unduke a little bit going through the hard stuff when you can laugh about it as well. So I know that we are going to bring different segments to the podcast. We're going to do the ones that we're going to run through today are, I have a little story time. I went to the dentist the other day, so we'll get into that. We're gonna go through nut job of the week, and then we're gonna do one that's grinds my gears.
Really grinds my gears.
And before we get into any of the segments, we just want to chat a little bit about faith. And I think maybe we have different perspectives on faith, or maybe we don't. I'm not really sure. I don't even think that we've talked about, or I've heard your perspective on what faith means to you. You want me to go first on this, baby, or do you want to take her away on what faith means to you?
What faith means to me, I don't know. That's really hard. I've struggled with faith. I've struggled with religion. I've struggled with what's real, what's not real. I want to believe and I want to have faith in things and people, and that this is not the end for us, that there's more to this, and it's not just random and it's not just luck of the draw. But I also, on the other hand, struggle with like, then why do so many people have it so shitty?
Right.
What did they do to deserve it? But I don't know. I think that there's no harm in I think there's no harm in believing, and I think you need to believe what you need to believe to get you through the day. And yeah, I guess that's like
So you
where I sit.
believe that you don't have to have religion to have faith. Is that
Correct.
fair?
This is here we go with unpopular opinions, and that
Bring it, baby.
they're gonna be thrown out here, but people take them with a grain of salt, because honestly, I'll probably forget I said it in like 15 minutes. My short-term memory is shit. Wait, what were we saying?
Religion, you don't have to have religion to have faith.
Religion. Okay. So I remember as a child sitting in Sunday school, sitting there thinking, I was probably like 7 maybe, and I was like, huh, if Jesus is the way, then what about the poor little kids born in Zimbabwe?
Right.
What? They're just fucked. Like, and I apologize for language. If you're in my family, you might not want to, you might not want to listen to this.
It's okay. It's
Um,
okay.
But yeah, I was just like, that doesn't work for me. Um, so I don't know. And I also take an issue with somebody standing up in front of a bunch of people and saying, I am able to decipher and sound off on these written words
Right.
better than you can.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I have the answers. My
Yeah.
answers are the only answers that work. And if
Mhm.
you don't agree with these answers, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
Like that does not make sense.
Yeah, no, and like, don't get me wrong, like I appreciate the pageantry in a lot of religions, like Catholicism, slay,
Yeah.
you know, like all the ceremonies, all the outfits, everything. Like,
Yep.
yes, I love a cathedral,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and songs, great, but I have to believe it came from somewhere.
Mhm.
So I think there's something that unites us all, there's a bigger creator, whatever, whatever.
Mhm.
I think religions are man's way of trying to make sense of it and profit off of it.
Right.
Sorry. Um, so you know, I think that you could be your own church.
Mhm. Yeah, agreed. That's what I do. I mean, that's everything. When I went into recovery, mom's Episcopalian, dad's LDS, so it got a little dicey. And
Yeah.
I had to, and in recovery, you have to have some form of a higher power, or
Mhm.
per the, that's what they say is important.
Mhm.
And I, I had to burn all of the religion down. I had to I had to rid myself of it to get to just a basic feeling.
Yeah.
And I didn't worry about what it was or where it came from or anything like that. I just let it be a feeling that made me feel better and gave me a little teensy bit of peace. But now I can see that like there's different deities all over the place, and I believe that their core is real. I believe that somebody had a spiritual experience that led to X, Y, and Z. And then I think that human beings came in and fucked it all up. And like with their power and their greed, and they're like, I want to be on top of this steeple, and I want to be this person, and I want this congregation, and I want this following.
Yeah.
And we put the humanness into the spirituality, which usually doesn't end well. So
Mhm.
faith to me is just a feeling. Like I can close my eyes and I ask myself, what do I need in this moment? Or if I'm fearful of something, if I'm spinning in some way, I'll close my eyes and I'll just say, if I could switch it, if I could feel something right now, what would that be? And I'll let my body drop and I'll close my eyes and I'll just sit there for a second. But the crazy part is our energetic brains, we are all over the place, but we're just going to go with it. Our brains and our body don't know the difference between us creating a feeling versus an actual real feeling. So why wouldn't you just go to Delulu and create this feeling, which then ultimately, like you're going to open up your eyes and be like, wow, I feel better. Let's roll with this.
Yeah.
So, and then the other idea is like, if I don't have faith, I'm a nut job. Enter where nut farm comes into play. So I put my hands up like this all the time. And if I don't have faith, I'm controlling, I'm a lunatic, I slam massive amounts of vodka and tequila in my body, which destroys my life and starts me on a whole other cycle. Or I can come over here, step out of my fear, which you can't see, and step over here into faith, which you can't see, and have a little peace, a little calm. But this one, you have to take a leap of faith, enter faith. But logically, this one makes me feel better. So I'm just going to continue to do this one, and it hasn't failed me yet. That's kind of my take on faith. And I honestly, God, I don't know how people's nervous system and how their little sweet brains and bodies function without it.
Well, I'll tell you.
Come on in.
That's when the old mood disorder likes to rear its ugly head
Okay, talk to me about that.
and say, I know that you know this is probably what's going to help you, but let's not do that. Let's go this way instead, where you spiral and do things that are bad for you, and you're going to feel even. It's the most intuitive, counterproductive thing ever.
Mhm.
It's like you know what you can do in a moment, like you said, when you're freaking out, whatever.
Mhm.
You know what you can do to make you feel better.
Mhm.
But it's this little seductress, like little come this way. No, you don't want what they got. Come behind the curtain. You're like, ooh, maybe it'll be different this time. And then it's not.
This is not ever different.
It's not ever
So
different.
why do you think we continue to go pick this hand instead of this hand?
maybe maybe because we're like scared of what we would find if
Yeah.
we resisted old urges, habits.
Totally.
What would it mean? It's a crutch a lot of times because it's familiar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's like if I chose to be different, things would be different. And what would that mean?
Right.
For me.
Yeah.
In my life.
Yep.
Which is weird because we're all just like, oh, we want to be happy and it's like, okay, but I'm gonna screw up the first chance I get every time. And
Every
you're like,
time.
why?
Because of yeah, because it's uncertain is so scary for people. So taking a different perspective in my brain, like anything that is not serving me, I get to take a different perspective and it actually turns out to serve me. And so even with anxiety, you can take this little thing, this little bitch of anxiety, and instead of looking at it like, oh my God, this means that I'm weak and this means that I can't handle things and I'm just such a mess and blah 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 blah. And or you can look at anxiety as like, I'm excited about something new. Once again, we got to go to Delulu to actually get ourselves over that hump of um what our current state of reality and our old patterns and our old beliefs are. But the other part of I'm spacing on what my other part was, but it's just taking a different perspective on this uncertainty can be exciting. Tying back into faith, I have faith that everything in front of me is going to be for my highest good if I'm living my best life, if I'm doing the things that I should be doing. Right.
Yeah.
So I can get kind of pumped up about the future. And I choose to believe that everything in the future is going to work out to my highest good because I live my life right. And if I don't look at it that way, I'm going to slam loads and loads and loads of vodka in my body and I'm going to destroy my life. And I don't really want to do that today because I'm really happy.
Slam it. I also have not had a drink in coming up on 5 years. Decided to give it up right before February of 2020 is when I decided to stop drinking. Right before we were all locked indoors and everything went to completion. And you know what? I am so glad. And talk about faith and divine intervention because who knows what I would have done to myself if I had that crutch for me, that little like emotional safety blanket that I hated.
Yeah.
Available.
Isn't that crazy to think about?
Yeah, like that. Why then? Why?
Divine.
It's crazy.
I just got goosebumps all over my body. And I also, every time I think about you quitting then, and I'm somebody who had to go to rehab and I had to go to treatment to get better because I couldn't do it I had to be totally removed from the chaos of my life to get it. And so for one, I look at you and I'm like, oh my God, she was just able to stop. Like I look at you with awe, like inspiration and just like so much like jaw dropping just with that. But then to have the fucking world shut down and then you to be in your house with no other like you're a catch and you're amazing. And I give you so much props for being able to not only to stop drinking, but stop drinking at that time without more help.
Yeah, I mean, I think to be fair for us, like it was a different monster for both of us. For me, it was binging. You know, I didn't need it first thing when I woke up, but it became the way that I handled any kind of stressor.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I gotta get home and have a cocktail.
Right.
Oh, I gotta get me that glass of wine.
Right.
Right. And then it's like all the stuff that you band-aid that with just piles up until like you have a shitstorm on your hands. And I don't know how to deal with stuff in a healthy way.
Right.
Like I realized I didn't have any coping mechanisms.
Yeah.
Like period.
Yeah.
And so like I had to
Oh, but like
really
putting
work
on
that.
the smile and like pulling yourself up by your bootstraps and sweeping things under the rug, that didn't work for you?
No, not for long. Not for long.
Such a cracker.
Yeah, so like I had to go to therapy figure that out. Like, why am I like this? Why do I do this
Mhm.
really? And what can I do differently so I'm not a miserable human?
Right.
So that was rough, and I feel much better today, but like it took work.
Mhm.
And a lot of people, I think it's the one of the things that like initially drew me to you before we realized we were like soulmates was
Mm.
that like, oh wow, there's another mom here that doesn't drink.
Glory, hallelujah.
Because I'm like, and no shade, like most people can have a healthy relationship with alcohol. I am not one of them.
Same.
So just to be able to find that with you, realizing it's never going to be a thing with us, it's never going to be, oh, come on, just have one glass. Like, that's never going to happen. Made me feel like a level of safety and calm in that. So,
Same.
like,
I
don't
feel
know.
like I knew you for a little bit before I knew that you didn't drink. And so when we started to get close and then you said I don't drink, I was like, doves flew out your ass. Like I was like, what did you just say to me? Oh my God. Like I've been praying for people like this. And not only people that don't drink, but also people that are like really fun. Like you're a fun human.
Whenever I tell people I don't, people are shocked.
Yeah.
Shocked. Like, well, I don't
Why?
drink. They're like, what? I'm like, yeah.
They're like never?
Like never? Like not at all? Like, no.
No.
I must give off like big booze vibes.
I don't know. I never got that from you at all. But I think it's also just like the standard of the world. Like if
Yeah.
you tell somebody that you don't do heroin, they're like, yeah, good. That's probably
Yeah, no fucking
probably a
shit.
benefit. But if you're like, no, I don't drink and I haven't drank for 8 years and I'm gonna continue for the rest of my life never to do that again.
Yeah.
They're like, what?
Uh-huh.
And they're like, oh, but you do it like you'll have one. And I'm
Like on a special occasion?
like, do you want to watch
No,
my life
bitch.
implode?
No. Like
Watch.
not ever. Did you ever? No, you probably didn't. But I went through this period of time where I was like, maybe I could just have one drink.
Went through every phase that you could possibly have in the realm of
And I'm really glad I didn't listen to myself. Because like why? For me, like if I'm not gonna get hammered,
same.
why?
What is the point?
Right. I don't like enjoy the flavor of that fucking like bourbon,
Totally.
and if you do, great. No shade. Me? No, I'm slamming it back. Let's get loose. And if
Let's
I'm not,
go
I
have
don't
fun.
want it.
Yeah,
I don't want it.
I'm with you. But do you know what I have found? And this came later. I didn't do this early in my recovery, but I've found like non-alcoholic wines, and those have really been fun for me.
Yes, we've been dabbling in the mocktail sector, and I have to say, it's been such a joy, such delight
Agreed.
to go to a lovely restaurant and have them offer a few mocktails.
Totally. Let's shout out every single restaurant that has not only do they offer mocktails, but it's on their menu.
Mhm.
Oh, I just want to kiss them. And
Yes.
sometimes I'll tell the waiter, I'm like you, and I'm like the over explainer, over talker, over sharing human. And I will tell them like, oh my God, you don't know how much this means to me. And it's like
They're
oh,
like, okay, that's great.
do
Bye.
you want a California roll or
Or
sashimi
do
today?
you want a fork or you good?
Hot sauce with your taco?
It's great.
Yes, yes, I'll have some.
I love a mocktail. And every time we go out and we get these fancy mocktails, like really done up in the glasses, like I even got one down here at Cafe. Shout out to Cafe Monarch. And it came in like a bird glass.
Yes.
Yeah, and they have like sprigs, and sometimes there's like smoke.
Mm.
Ocean and Prime has a great one that smokes.
Yep.
I love that. But like it's
Totally.
the placebo effect. We'll sit there with
100%.
our mocktails.
I'll get
Like,
loose.
feel a little. Do you feel this mocktail?
I'm feeling it.
I'm feeling this mocktail.
Sometimes I'll get so goofy and giddy that I'll have Steve taste it, and Steve
They
always
double
tastes it.
check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He'll, and I even had you taste it as well when we went over here, but um I'll have like double check that there's no stuff in there.
Yeah. Well, because they're getting so good now
Mhm.
that sometimes I don't know. I'll take a sip and I'll be like,
Right.
that's
Scary.
I'll be like, Adam. He's like, no, like, what are you
Right,
talking
right.
about? Like,
There's one time we went to, I think it was Mastro's, and they do the dry ice. And my sister was with us. and she got a mocktail too, and she's kind of a hillbilly, probably a little bit more of a hillbilly than I am. And she
God,
took
love
her
her.
spoon and was digging into what was dry ice,
Yeah.
thinking that it was like ice cream or something.
Oh,
She goes to put
no.
it in her mouth. I'm like, what are you doing? You can't eat that. That is dry ice. She's like, oh, it is. I'm like, yes, do you see her doing smoking? Like,
Oh my God.
she was gonna freaking put dry ice in her mouth.
Shout out to Kelly.
Shout out
We
to
love you, Kelly.
We love you. We love you so much. Okay, so here's my do you want me to tell you my dentist story?
Yeah, if I may, give a little background on my feelings about that.
Yes.
I feel like it has to be said.
Yep.
I hate the dentist.
I hate the dentist too.
I hate the dentist with a fire of 1,000 suns. Every time I go and I have to get work done, I have to take 3 Valium just to get through the appointment.
I'm not lucky enough to be able to do that.
Never been a pill gal.
Yeah.
Last month I had to get a filling replaced. Filling was too deep, turns out. So I had to get the filling removed. I had to get a root canal. I had to get a crown. Temporary. I had to go back for a permanent crown.
Yeah.
I hate the dentist.
It's the worst. It's the absolute worst. And you know what's so funny is that same exact thing is where I'm at, but I'm just at the filling part.
Oh, just wait till it fails.
I know. I was thinking that the whole time. Okay, so we both hate the dentist, and of course, I'm like this over analyzer. Like, why do we hate the dentist? What is it? Like, how come? And for one, it's sensory stuff for me. I can't stand this. Can't deal with it. Oh, and the holding down, and then the glad, and then the like, oh, and then they're talking to you, but you can't talk back, and you're like, why are you asking me questions when I can't respond to you?
Yeah.
And is it
yeah.
imperative for you to know this answer for us to keep going? But you keep going anyways without even hearing my answer.
Yep.
So I let myself get instead of Valium because that will take me down a road that, you know, I don't want to risk. And so I asked for the laughing gas, or they kept calling it, they wouldn't call it, laughing gas. They would just call it nitrous.
You were requesting nitrous.
The NOS.
The NOS.
The NOS. And so we started, and they were like laying me back or something. And I was like, oh, can I do the laughing gas stuff? And they're like, oh, you want that? And I'm like, yeah.
And why do they act like, you know, like you're some sort of fucking freak because you don't like people drilling in your mouth with their big fingers? Like what? How is everybody else fine with this?
I know.
This is the thing of, it's a hellscape
Yeah.
at the dentist. I hate the dentist,
I
and
know.
my dentist fucking hates me.
No,
Last time he's like,
actually, we go to
did
the
he
same.
remember me?
Yes.
Unbeknownst to us, we go to the same dentist.
We go to the same dentist, and
Shout
I
out to
was
Tyler at
Taylor.
oh shit, that's why he hates me. Look at his name.
No, Taylor and Jordan.
Taylor and Jordan. Shout out to Taylor and Jordan.
So I'm laying there and I'm text messaging with Missy, and I was like, did you know that my best friend is Missy Stern? And I know that she has a little bit of anxiety around going to the dentist. I go, please, what did I say? I said, please don't judge her by her dentist appearance or by her dentist couth, whatever I said. And I'm like, she's actually quite what's the word I'm looking for? Demeanor. It starts with a C.
Crass.
Dentist
Conduct.
Yes, maybe it's along those lines. So and he's like, oh no, and he said something nice about you, and then was like, dental anxiety is a real thing. And I'm like, I bet you have to go through this whole thing in dental school to deal with people that have dental phobia. And he's like, yeah. And so we put the NOS on, and right out the gate, I'm already freaking out because it goes over your nose and they strap it in tight, and you're like fucking attached to the seat. And I'm like, I can't breathe. But I'm like, but I need to breathe because I need this on my nose so I can relax. And the lady was like, is it tight enough? And I'm like, yes. She's like, here, let me make it a little tighter. I'm like, I just said it was tight enough. Stop doing that.
And she literally gassed you up. She literally.
So I keep taking big inhales, and then she's like teaching me how to breathe. And I'm like, do you know what I do for a living?
Yeah, I'm like, bitch,
I
you
know
don't
how to,
even
I know how to
know.
breathe. And
You can breathe like a motherfucker.
so then I start feeling it. And I'm like, oh yeah. And
Beat me up, Scotty.
hashtag free relapse is all I have to say about it. But then I start overthinking again, like, okay, now let's really dive into this and utilize this time on NOS to really come up with some great epiphanies.
Yeah.
And so first of all, it goes to social media posts and like how I can make this funny for social media posts, because my hands, even though I'm have this stuff to let me relax, my hands are on my hips fully. I call them jazz hands. Like they're fully like this on my hips, full spread fingers, jazz hands on my hips the whole time. My body is so tight and I won't allow myself to fully relax. And I'm like, just try to close your eyes, Gretchen. I close my eyes and I can feel myself drifting too far into like relaxation station. So I'm like, come back, Gretchen, come back. And I'm like, open my eyes.
Out of it.
And I'm like, you need to focus again.
Yeah.
But then I keep going back and forth, like, okay, well, you're supposed to relax, but you can't relax fully. So in comes the water, where they spray you with the water and you feel like you're being waterboarded, because heaven forbid you remember that you have a nose to breathe in and out of.
No one can remember that.
Nobody can remember that. And then they slam that thing in your mouth to keep your mouth open. And I'm biting so hard on it. And so then I'm like,
yeah, the rubber wedge.
right.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, this thing is very durable because I am biting on it very hard and it's still standing the test of time.
Has to be.
Okay. So then I get thinking, okay, my eyes are open. Should they not be open? Am I like staring deep into Taylor's eyes as he's prying into my mouth?
He's
and
like, what's her deal?
Or right.
She has a crush on me.
Exactly. He loves me and he probably thinks that I'm here to ruin his marriage. And that's not true because I'm very happily married to my amazing husband.
Shout out to Steve.
Shout out to Steve. So then I close my eyes, but then I drift too far in again. So I'm like, oh God, so I guess I'm just gonna be a home wrecker and keep my eyes open the whole time and look up. Luckily we have those sunglasses. But it reminds me of in Shavasana when people don't close their eyes.
Oh, is
so
that bad?
What kind? I mean, it just means that they don't feel safe enough to close their eyes.
What if it just means they're curious?
You're not supposed to be curious in Shavasana. You're supposed to relax Shavasana. Be on alert. You're supposed to, like, when your eyes are open, you're on alert, right? So you're
I close them at first. And then when I'm like anticipating her wrapping it up and I'm
right. Control. Like those see, this is where my whole dental thing comes together. And I'm like, okay, I can totally see why people don't like the dentist. For one, you're feeling controlled. For two, it's the absolute most vulnerable situation you can ever be in your entire life. And for three, you can't talk. Like, even if you wanted to say something, you couldn't share, you couldn't verbalize what you needed.
No.
So I want to invent a dental pal, a dentist pal, like an emotional support dental friend, a company where a person goes and holds your hand, can talk for you, so you can just feel their little hand on your leg the whole time and relax, let go, and enjoy the NOS.
An advocate.
An advocate.
That's a great idea because you really are like just at the mercy of
100%.
these people.
Right. Luckily, we do have really, really, our dentists are really great people. The place is very but that's my dental story. And I was actually kind of laughing because they're like, okay, now you need to breathe in oxygen. But I was kind of holding my breath because I'm like, I don't really want this to end. So let me get one more big swig of the NOS, and then I'll start taking other oxygen breaths.
Yeah.
But I'm walking out and I'm still feeling like a little goofy.
They didn't make you sit for like.
Well, he said 10 minutes, but then I looked at the clock and it had been like 3 minutes or something along those. It wasn't, I was fine and I was safe and everything was good. But at the same time, I'm like, but I'm like very self-aware and very, like, you take some idiot that doesn't know how to drive, give him a little NOS, let him sit with oxygen for 10 minutes and then put him in a car, like Crash City.
Yeah.
They're not as reliable as I am. Yeah. So that was
your story.
And I wrote down, and I was so paranoid that I was not going to be able to remember all of my epiphanies that I kept repeating them in my head over and over and over again. And let me just read you what I text message myself all the time. And these were my notes from the dentist.
Oh, yes.
Eyes, hands, control, water, vulnerability, client pal, hearing. Oh, that was the last part. I couldn't hear anything. So I couldn't understand if they were talking to me and asking me questions or they were just talking amongst themselves. And then I'm like, hey, speak up. I need to hear what you're saying if it
Yeah,
has
like talking
anything
to my
to
good
do with it.
ear. Yeah.
Exactly. I couldn't hear anything.
Water.
Eyes, hands, control, water. Lots of good epiphanies.
Did
All
you
right.
know that they've offered, just one last thing on the dental stuff? They were like, so I was like, I have problems with this.
Mhm.
Like, well, you know, we could get an anesthesiologist to come in here and put you all the way under. So for next time,
You might want to.
yeah.
I can see you. I can see I chuckled in because I could feel when you would. I think you said something to Taylor like you told him to F off or like something along those lines, like very
It's like,
very
fuck off, Taylor.
right, like you were
I
pissed.
felt bad, but not really.
I think he gets it though that it's a real thing, but I could tell the time that you did that, and I started to chuckle and be like, "This is where this I bet is where she really lost it."
Yeah.
And didn't want to do this anymore and thought that it was like a personal attack on you.
It's humiliating.
It's
It's degrading.
It is.
Big hands down your throat, like,
Right. He's like, you're gonna feel a little pressure. Oh.
yeah, you're supposed to just sit there and take it. It's the patriarchy.
Speaking of that, who's our nut job of the week?
Well, I think that there's a too obvious choice that we're going to overlook
Mhm.
this week, but
She's talking about the elections. If that's not coming through very clear.
and this isn't a political pod. It's not a political
Nah.
pod.
If anybody, I'm not a political human. But keep going. Okay, nut job of the week.
So, nut job of the week might come as a surprise to some. And I'm not talking about P. Diddy.
Even though he's
the nut job of the century.
yes.
But who I am talking about and who I want to shed some light on here and really dive into J-Lo,
Jennifer Lopez.
Jenny on the block.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about what maybe she knew versus not
She knew a lot
going on? And dare I say, maybe this led to this with Ben. I know Ben's a miserable son of a bitch, but it came really sudden. They were to get back together. They were in love.
Yep.
Da, da, da. The Diddy stuff comes out. Oh, divorce.
Mm-hmm. The timing lines up like in the thick of all of the those it's so weird to me like how sex crazed it was. Like it's
Yeah, like
so wild. Like
straight
get
up
a
sex criminals.
grip.
Yeah, yeah.
Get a grip. You know, I'm down to party a little bit.
Party.
I'm down to be a freak in the sheets every once in a while. That's like above and beyond.
It's
And
demented.
the timing of it all leads straight for her knowing all about it. And
It's like how could she not, right? Like my mind is imagining a day in the life, Diddy and J-Lo. Well, they go to award show, they go to they come home.
Right.
He's like, I have this animalistic sexual desire to like
just
abuse
be with
people,
and be with men.
men, kids, women, whoever the fuck he could stick it in. And he's like, you can't just keep that on like
She would like she would do threesomes. Like it would be a thing.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
What have you heard? Because I have not
It's
heard
on
a thing.
TikTok. I'm not in. I don't. This is just all the stuff that I've. But it seems as though the story is like there's valid proof behind all of it, and there's a book. I almost bought it. Who the heck? It was like Diddy's first wife. What's her name?
Oh God, is she alive?
I'm gonna Google it. Yeah, she's alive, and she has a. Excuse me. She has like a tell-all book that people are saying wasn't really her and it was fabricated and all of this, but the stuff that comes out of it is
So you're saying not only was J-Lo privy, she was a willing participant in some
correct.
cases.
Yes. Diddy's
Disgusting.
first wife. Kim Porter.
Kim Porter. That
Who-
sounds familiar.
She has like a tell-all book that I need to, and this one chick on TikTok, she'll like break down the book and give you cliff notes of it. And it is, and part of that's I think where I heard about the J-Lo side of it was that.
It's just so disturbing in every way possible. And then here she is out on the internet and like, oh,
I think
yeah,
she's like
posting
promoting a
pictures,
movie.
just going on with her life, and
Right.
it's like, Ben, sound off. Like,
Right.
it's over. Tell everyone everything.
Right.
I want to know it all.
Yeah.
Spare no detail.
And her persona has always been like, and I was fine with her. But her persona's always been like, oh, all I want to do is love. All I want to do is be married and have a family and like and all of my relationships don't work. Well, you pick Diddy.
Right.
So maybe the problem is you. What's my part in this? The problem is that you pick maybe the wrong man.
So true.
And you stay for, but I think they got a divorce, didn't they? Or did they ever get married?
Divorces everyone.
Yeah. So J-Lo is our nut job of the week here.
I just like am really bracing for more facts to come out about it because I think it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah. I love the pop culture and I love Hollywood and I love all of it, but I'm also really okay with every single human that was involved in it to go down.
Okay, can I tell you my funny J-Lo story?
Yes.
I
Did you
don't
meet
know if
her?
I told you this. Almost. So for my birthday last year, we went and saw Christina Aguilera
Okay.
in Vegas. Amazing. Shout out to Christina.
Mm.
Okay, she is a queen.
Ex-Dina.
Which was fantastic. Before the show, I'm all dressed up in sparkly whatever. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom. Walk down these little stairs, go into the bathroom, do my thing, come out, crowd of people around, standing up on this upper level, phones out, cameras out, the whole deal. And me, I'm like, oh my God, they think I'm someone famous.
Still.
I was like, oh, how cute. Like, who do you think I am?
It's about time. It's about time people realize who I am.
You know? So then I walk up, I'm like, oh, watch me come out of the bathroom. It's like, J-Lo just went in there. You didn't see her? I was like, whoa, how did I miss her?
Oh
We were
my
like 2 a.m. in
gosh.
the night. I was like, coming out. She was coming in, and we never, yeah. But
Oh.
for a moment, I was like,
That moment was yours.
like, should I stop and post? Like, should I?
Should have. Yes. Own it.
I was gassing myself up, and then I was like, that's embarrassing. But I wish I would have met J-Lo.
No joke. You guys like accidentally touched shoulders. Could you imagine touching shoulders and looking up and being like
it's J-Lo? Back then, I would have been excited. Nowadays,
there's a little bit of like there would have been an uncomfortable interaction.
I would have had like an involuntary, like, ew, like,
Ah!
like a,
I would have been like this.
chihuahua.
Like my butt would pucker and I'd be like, what do I do? Do I say hi? This is J-Lo, but like,
But I kind of hate her. I don't know what to do.
but I don't really know for sure if any of it's real because it's Hollywood and
Maybe she didn't know anything. I don't know.
all right, my love. Okay, what do you think? We should wrap this beautiful time up with grinds my gears. You say it.
Sure.
You say it how you're supposed to.
Oh, well, shout out to Peter Griffin from Family Guy because he was the inspiration for, what really grinds my gears.
I didn't even think about this pregame either, so I don't. What grinds my gears? Do you have anything off the cuff?
Well, like, I feel like most things, but I'm gonna like sift it down to what really grinds my gears. Okay, I do have one thing, and it's because it's a very fresh experience that happened to me yesterday. I'm not gonna go into it in detail because it's really humiliating, but You know what I'm talking about? The gas station.
Oh, I don't think that's humiliating. I think
Okay.
that's human.
What led to my frustration at the gas station is because I pulled into the gas station and every other stupid thing has the bag on it, has
Oh,
the
they're all
yellow
out of
bag,
order.
like
Yeah.
out of order.
Yeah.
Why? What? You're a gas. You sell gas here, do you not? Fix it if it's out of order.
Right.
Why is there one pump that operates here?
Yep.
Like, what's the deal with that? You just have it. That's like having a coffee shop. People coming into the coffee shop. They're like, I'll have a coffee, please. Well, the coffee machine's broken.
We're out.
Like, what? That grinds my
I
gears.
should grind your gears.
Fix your pumps, goddammit.
Yeah. And then what else happened? You don't want to talk about it? It's not
I
that
can't
big.
incriminate myself.
Oh, okay. Maybe next week. Maybe next week I can get it
I
out.
gotta lie low for a while, and if the heat dies down, I'll share.
All right, fair enough. Fair enough. I
Okay,
can
gotta
respect
protect
that.
myself.
I can respect that. You got kids.
I got a family.
You got. Okay, what grinds my gears? Well, let's just go with the one that always is the bane of my existence. The pickup line at school. The people who don't pull up in the pickup line. And they want their child to come right out and see them and be able to walk right into their car, yet everybody behind them is
Damned.
waiting.
Yeah.
We can all just go be our rule following self and go around them
Yeah.
instead of them pulling their vehicle up the way that it's all supposed to be.
Hmm.
That grinds my gears.
That's why I don't fuck with the pickup line. I just go to the parking lot, which is a whole other.
It is.
animal.
It is. It is. I can't go into the parking lot because I have to wait too long and then people don't let me in and then I feel like I don't want to like step on anybody's toes and like be aggressive. And so I'll park on the side, and here's the other part that grinds my gears. I need to practice
Grinds
it.
my gears.
Grind my gears. Is there when people stop to let their kids out right before the crosswalk. And it's time for everybody to be going through. It's time for the passing traffic to be moving. They stop at the crosswalk. They let their kid out. And then here comes crossing guard to really stop traffic.
Yeah.
And then I get effed. And I'm in a hurry. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, because everyone only cares about themselves.
It's so wild. That grinds my gears.
It really grinds my gears.
All right, but let's end this on a happy note. Let's end this on a joyful, happy, glass half full note.
Okay.
What is one thing that's been amazing that's happened to you this week?
Ooh. I went to my first Foundress meeting. Shout out to the Foundress.
Shout out to the Foundress.
I was greeted with warmth. The energy was electric.
It's an all women's like networking business party.
Right. And it was just so good to see something put on by the girlies for the girlies. Like the energy was great. Like I said, they just got it. I went to get a coffee in the back of the room. They had like sugar cookie creamer, caramel macchiato. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like paying attention to
Yep.
detail
Next
here.
level.
And not to mention the speakers were fantastic.
Yep.
I took feverish notes. I came away very inspired. And yeah, I really enjoyed that experience. So that was great for me.
Yeah.
The only bad thing was that you couldn't be there with me.
Agreed. Because of the pop up.
But I had Annie. Shout out to Annie.
Shout out to Annie. Annie's my sister-in-law, and she's absolutely fabulous. My high thus far of the week, there's lots of highs, but it kind of piggybacks on your Foundress. So Missy came away with like tons of. So we also do a clothing line, and Missy came away with tons of like tidbits and feedback and all of this good stuff about from the Foundress to bring to G Soul, and she I started G Soul and Missy has just come and like taken part of it and helps me and does all of this stuff. And I kept wondering in my head, like, why did she want to hang out with me? Like, why did she put, and I question it all the time. So she came after the Foundress and she's like, okay, I want a more active role in G Soul. I need this. Like, what do you think? But you don't have to answer right now, but I'll take over the Excel and the financial and the da 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 da. And I'm like, I would love that. That would be pretty much pinch me. I'm in a dream right now to have that. And so I worked through all of my mind effery of like, why does she want to do this? And I just get to receive you, and I get to receive your love,
Receive it.
and I just am gonna surrender and let the goodness come, because it keeps coming if we let it.
Totally. I love G Soul. Like I never, and I told you this before. I come from a financial services industry background. Okay. Let's just say it didn't really blow my skirt up. Okay. Like it paid the bills. It was the practical thing. But here I am, like midlife now, and my kids are old enough. They're at school. I have this time. There's so much I want to do with my life. And to be able to come and be a part of something that's just starting, that's growing, like the opportunity to me is just incredible. And I love what you're doing. I love the messaging. And so, like, yeah, of course, I want to be involved and I want to be a part of this like forever. And to get to do it with you is like the best thing in the world. So, yeah, I'm super pumped for my Excel, my reporting, my KPIs, and the inventory and the tagging, and the Shopify interfaces.
As I puke in a bucket thinking about those things. But that's why we're good together, the yin and the yang. All right, episode 1 in the books.
See ya.
Later.
Stop. How do you stop this thing?